everybody. Welcome into another episode of Connected by Seams podcast. Once again, I'm Seth Smith alongside Danny Espinoza and Garrett Smith. How we doing, fellas? How's everything going?
Good. Hotter than hell.
Doing well. Yeah, it's freaking warm. It's dry. I mean, SoCal, we like the sun, but this is like Arizona.
I feel like I'm at the river.
Yeah,
for real.
it's becoming a little too much. I had to get rid of the mop. I just couldn't handle it anymore, man. Had to cut the hair. It was just too much.
You'll be here soon.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that right now. I need to lather up with some sunscreen, but that would be nice right now. Yeah. Well, glad to hear everyone's doing well, enjoying the weather and all that. Before we get into our interview, we were able to catch up with Hayden Weir. Hayden and I went back a number of years now. Really good guy. It's been super cool to kind of watch his transition from student athlete to now having so much success in the brewing and all that. It's been pretty cool. I had fun with the conversation. I hope you guys did too.
Yeah, definitely did. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm a pretty simple beer drinker, what I thought, as far as drinking Coors Light and drinking PBR and Miller Lite. I mean, that's right where I want to be, But, it's like I talked to him before. I think that what he was saying was that I have to be introduced properly to all this. And I try IPA and it's like, wow, it's way too bitter. So I enjoy listening to his process of, different beers and how to be introduced properly.
He made it sound exciting and like very interesting, like intriguing. Like he's a good salesman and good pitch guy to get you to try new beers and new styles, So I agree.
His buzzwords were great, like get your taste buds tingling and all that. I was like, damn, I need a beer. He's got one. What? We all need one.
Yeah, I'm looking like for a real good one. It just like goes down real good. He's like, oh, your taste buds are alive.
Yeah.
They're talking to each other. And I'm like, oh shit, I never had that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shoot, we don't want to keep everyone on the edge of their seats too long. We'll send it to the start of the interview with Hayden Weir. Today we are joined by a good friend of mine, someone I'm excited to have on the show and talk about his story, and that's Hayden Weir. Hayden, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm real excited.
Heck yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. As mentioned, Hayden, a good friend of mine. We met through Cal State San Marcos. Hayden was a pitcher on the baseball team, played 4 years at San Marcos, and has now made the transition to the craft brewing industry. You've been now the head brewer at Dos Desperados since 2018. Kind of talk about that accomplishment, man. If anyone doesn't know, you were 24 years old when you became the head brewer at Dos Desperados in an area that is, I mean, a $1 billion craft beer industry and centered in maybe a region recognized as a national leader. And at 24 years old, you were named head brewer. Just kind of talk about that accomplishment in this area.
Yeah, I got lucky to get to work at the brewery at all, really, when I first got there at 21. And because some circumstances of brewers before me leaving and going back home to across the country, I grew at 24. People tell me I may have been the youngest one at the time. I don't know if there's any record on that, but I sure felt like a little kid in that industry.
Well, hats off to you, man. It's been pretty cool. I mean, you talk about maybe some guys leaving ahead of you, et cetera, but how did you get your start into the brewery? I know you had to have been a student athlete at the time, as well as I think you were working at Five Guys, something like that. If you can kind of just explain how it all started for you.
Yeah. So at about 20 is when I realized I wanted to go for brewing, and I wanted to try drinking craft beer and really enjoying it.
At 20?
It's a legal age in college.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
They buy beer for me now.
Yeah.
So I really fell in love with it. I realized now that I was in San Diego that's the craft beer mecca, really, country. So I was telling my new manager actually at Five Guys when I was working there. That was my first job, and I wanted how to brew. I went and begged for a job when I turned 21, which was just in a couple months. And turns out he was a regular at the brewery around the corner. and he knew the owner. I just never even heard of it because, you know, I wasn't 21, wasn't trying out breweries yet. But he went in there, talked to me hard at Five Guys, and he really hit it off. So the owner was nice enough to interview me a couple times and hire me a month after I turned 21. And I was able to be a student athlete, still work at Five Guys, start brewing over at Dos Desperados. I got free burgers, free fries from Five Guys, and I was getting some free beer at Dos. And
At
I think
21?
I lost weight that summer somehow.
At 21, I don't think there's anything better
How
than
do you
that.
lose even
Yeah.
eating Five Guys? I mean,
It's a lot better than a cup of noodles.
Mm-hmm. Going into fall semester, I was still doing both jobs, being a student athlete, and I think I got the best grades of my college career that semester, just you know, as much as I could, and it was great. It was a really fun
Because
experience.
you had a slight buzz in class and you were able to get through everything.
Yeah, and in practice too, that made it fun. When I didn't have much to do, showing up to practice.
Got a shag today. I'm just gonna have a couple beers.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken,
It
I
was a
think
good time.
you changed your major and all that, right? Do you think that kind of helped with your focus?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was a business major because going into college, I wanted to own my own business at some point, but I had no idea what it was. So I knew business was good at Cal State San Marcos. So I did I think, and I was falling asleep in classes. I was getting C's and D's, and I was not enjoying it at all. So environmental studies program came out. I love science and environment, things like that. All the professors were super excited to be teaching those classes because it was brand new. There wasn't a whole lot of curriculum set in stone. So like, all right, you got to write 10-page paper, choose something and make it environmental. So I wrote about sustainable brewing. I wrote about growing hops. I gave multiple presentations on the brewing process. That was awesome.
Oh, that's
that just kept me motivated in class and sports and everything.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like you're almost saying what you wanted to do or what you liked, and just being able to give a presentation, kind of, as long as it entailed a little bit of science.
As long as I was directing it towards sustainability or being eco-friendly, it was okay, and everyone was really entertained by it. At that age, no one was about the brewing process. Even the professors I was teaching everyone else something I was really passionate about.
That's awesome. Cool. Not a whole lot of people get to do something as unique and like so specific to what they want to do, and you're able to find that and be one of the pioneers in the department. That's rad.
Yeah, I stumbled on something I was really passionate about that early on.
And so when you're at the brewery and you're splitting it between Five Guys and all that, how long until you kind of got to be hands-on doing a brew, maybe not on your own, but with someone, or like, what was that aha moment? Like, whoa, I can do this,
So day one, my first shift, I was helping brew. I was doing horn hops because I was shoveling grain. They threw me in the fire right away, which is what I wanted. And
hey, you're a reliever. You're used to that.
I was after practice and in my baseball practice clothes, shoveling grain, sweeping the floor, stuff like that. So I learned brewer. And he ended up leaving, and another brewer that's been brewing professionally for 20 years was teaching me hands-on. Was the one who, once I graduated, we had almost a full year together, me every day brewing with him. He was really skilled brewer. Luckily, he was able to leave and go back to the East Coast, his hometown, and so that was April 2018.
That is awesome.
Yeah, what all entails be a brewer? I mean, I got no clue. Like I was saying, I enjoy PBR. I enjoy Coors Light. I drink Miller Lite. Like if I drink something special, I drink a Guinness. That's like special.
Stop naming those high class beers.
What goes into that?
So we call ourselves glorified janitors.
Okay.
2% cleaning, 20% pouring some stuff in and recipe formulation. Because clean beer is good. Good, all that. So it's, I'm milling grain, so I'm lifting 55-pound bags of grain. That's the beginning process. We crush that up, add into the mill where we add hot water. The hot water turns the starches in that grain into sugars. So I then put in a boil kettle, bring it to a boil for an hour and a half, dump in hops. The hops that go in the beginning make the beer bitter. The hops that go in at the end give aroma. Down, add oxygen to it, put it in the fermenter, and then dump yeast in. yeast is what really makes beer. I make sugar water. So yeast absorbs that oxygen itself enough to where it can sustain itself to eat all the sugars in the solution I made. And that yeast makes ethanol and CO2. So it carbonates the beer and gives alcohol to the beer. And at that point, that's when I either force carbonate it and clear it if it's a clear beer, or leave it hazy if it's a hazy. And in IPAs, I'll dump in some more hops into that fermenter called dry hopping. That gives it that bigger hop explode while you're drinking it. And I either put it in the kegs or we put it in the cans.
Sounds way easier just to drink it.
Damn, it's that easy.
So it's usually a 6, 7, 8 hour brew day, and then 2 weeks for ales and 3 weeks for PAs, 6 weeks for lagers. It's time consuming, but boy, it's some good manual labor, and at the end of the day, you get to drink the fruits of your labor, and it's incredibly satisfying.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of,
and as a head brewer, I got to organize all that, and I do it on my own, which I really enjoy because I'm all hands on. Everything that goes wrong, it's on me, and anything that goes right, it's on me. Not many breweries are like that. Usually there's assistant brewers or cellarmen, they call it, who are cleaning and stuff. So I really do it on my own.
So this 6+ hour day is just you brewing?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive,
process.
man.
And there's washing kegs, there's transferring beers in different tanks, all sorts of other stuff. But
well, what was the first beer you brewed that was put on tap at Dos Desperados?
The first beer I got to make as head brewer, all on my own, right? Ordering and doing it all, was Hazy Daisy. So it was our first hazy IPA we ever made. They were getting real popular. Our owner was somewhat against making hazy IPAs because he was a more traditional brewer. He liked making old Belgian and German style beers. So he knew I was making it, but I was kind of telling him I was going to make this style. And I named it Hazy Daisy because my golden retriever's name is Daisy. And I got to eventually throw her on a can. With a little Looney Tunes style golden retriever.
I was going to say the Looney Tunes is so sweet. Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
And my one of my friends from garden drew that. Cool. And it's our best selling beer now.
Cool.
Yeah, that's so rad.
Definitely a cool can. I like the bright blue. It's a cool can. I like it a lot. That would, for me, when you go into a liquor store and you see a unique bottle, a unique can, like I've never had it, but I'm going to try it just because I like the can.
That was the goal. Every dollar is going to buy that can.
That's me.
No doubt.
And we were talking before the show. She's humble about it. She's humble about being on the can. She hasn't let it get to her head just yet, right? Yeah,
I haven't heard her bragging much.
Yeah.
That's her sister's a little jealous, so she doesn't like to rub it in her face.
That's good.
As a brewer, for me, like I don't know much about the whole process as you already talked us through, but for you, what's the most difficult of your day? For what I did, I had different things that were easy and things that were really tough for me in what I did. But for you, what's the most difficult part of your day is going through a work day for you?
I'd say the most physically demanding is washing kegs. I got to scrub those outsides of the shells. I got to flip it, put it on the machine, and then put them on pallets and move them around the brewery. And it's physically demanding, but boy, it makes that beer at the end of the day taste good.
Just washing kegs is
that's most physically demanding. I'd say the hardest, or maybe for me, coming up with beer names is kind of hard. I'm not the most creative when it comes to that.
There's some good ones out there.
Overall,
man.
I would be a brand new recipe. Oh, I know. So many are taken. That's why it's hard.
Yeah.
Coming up with a brand new recipe of a style of beer I've never made can be tough.
When you're tinkering, is just like, all right, we're going to add a little less sugar or a little less this, or what? Explain that a little bit, how you can slightly alter maybe that, just the slightest bit of taste on a beer.
So one of the things that drew me to brewing more than anything was there's so many different points in the process and in the recipe you can make a small tweak and difference in a beer.
Okay.
The way I make recipes for new beers, some people make small batches called pilot batches and tweak it over time. But because I'm the only one doing it, I like to just go for it. I like to look at other recipes that are available online of what people have done. And there's style guidelines for certain styles of beers. But I just go with my gut. They say brewing is an art and a science. I really like the art form behind it. I kind of I pay attention to what other people have done and what I'm looking for in my beer. And because you can't really mess it up unless the beer isn't clean. If there's an infection or bad fermentation, a beer gets missing. But if you mess up a recipe, it's not a big deal. It's still going to be a good beer.
So you could accidentally mess up and run into a great beer.
It's a year probably. I make a pretty decent mistake, and oh, hey, new beer, new name. There you go. Still tastes good. As long as you keep everything clean, it'll be good.
Okay.
Have you found a style that's been the most difficult, like an IPA? You know what I mean? Anything like that that's given you the most challenges?
They say lagers are the hardest to brew because there's nothing to hide behind. It's really low malt. So PBR, brewing a PBR will hold because there's low hops to hide behind. So if you have any off flavors in your fermentation, it's going to stand out and it's not going to taste good. So we have a lager that's selling beers. So lagering, you have to sit in a cold tank. So that's lager means cold storage or storage in German. So it sits in it a long time, and the longer it's sitting, the more infections it can get. There's a higher chance of things going wrong. So you have to be super careful on that brew day and make sure everything's clean, and then really keep an eye on its fermentation through those 5-6 long
So like
weeks.
a PBR, like a Coors Light, you say it's tough that small things can go wrong. I didn't know you could mess up with water that bad. I'm a big fan of both of them, but I didn't think you could totally mess up the taste of that much on a beer that's that light. I thought it'd be harder or easier to mess up with what you do.
I
Well,
was gonna say
PBR and Coors Light, those breweries, they are at such a large scale. It's all automated. They're pressing buttons, so it's harder for something to go wrong.
Right.
For me, I'm doing things by hand. Smaller tanks. Stuff breaks. That's what a brewer's solvers. Stuff breaks every day. Murphy's always on the job, is what we say. Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will.
Gotcha.
And it happens all the time. So as small as we are, and not really a one-man show, but me doing all the brewing production on my own, it can be difficult, but that's what makes it fun.
Cool.
So what you're saying is we should appreciate a lager from a craft brew more than a regular lager from a PBR Coors Light.
There's a little bit of love that went into it. Lagers is drinking someone's lager at a small brewery is a good test of the brewer's process.
Okay.
That's fair.
So they say, how to test a bartender is ask for a Sazerac. If they can make that properly, they know what they're doing. Same thing as with brewers.
Okay.
What are you looking for in that lager then? Like what's hoping to pass your test?
You're looking for, if it's like a Coors lager, those are like light American lagers. They're low bitterness, low hop. You're looking for just like a bready, crackery malt taste. You don't want to taste any diacetyl. That's the biggest off flavor in beers. It tastes like buttered popcorn. That's actually the chemical they put in movie theater butter is diacetyl. So that could taste kind of like slimy and buttery butterscotch-like, or there's acetaldehyde, which is a great green apple flavor, which is actually when you feel hungover in the mornings after a night of drinking because your liver is turning alcohol into acetaldehyde, and that's poison. So you feel like shit afterwards.
Wow.
But that's also an off flavor information that should be reabsorbed if done properly.
Yeah.
I'm learning more about how my body works.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so when you make beer and that's a big part of your life, I try to learn a little bit about all sorts of alcohol and how it affects your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty cool. I remember sliding in your DMs during like the beginning part of the COVID part here to ask you a question about you guys returning beer to sanitizer. Let's not everyone get carried away here. It was just a simple question. Maybe threw my phone number in there also, but that was it.
Slide into my DMs any day.
Couple pictures.
No, but you guys, it was really cool. You guys were taking beer that was, I'm assuming, most likely going to go to waste and donating it or doing something to turn it into hand sanitizer. If you can kind of talk about that.
So there's multiple local distilleries we have here in Vista that at the beginning of this lockdown quarantine, everybody was in need of hand sanitizer and everybody was running out very quickly. So distilleries have the ability to distill sugar or beer, any sort of alcohol really, anything with sugar, into ethanol, which they can then make hand. So we took over a dozen kegs over to our local distillery and they turned it into hand sanitizer. And we felt really cool that we were able to put that. Either kind of already bad or was going to go bad within a month or so. IPAs are pretty delicate when it comes to that. You want to drink them within 3 months, and we were expecting not months. So that was a good use of wasted beer, rather than dumping it down the drain.
Definitely.
And we're actually going to do it again. Now that bars and restaurants are opening up, a lot of them have those old kegs sitting in their cold rooms and coolers. So we're swapping them out with fresh beer, and we'll more hand.
Very cool.
So that's what you guys are gonna look into doing more often now that you know that you can, like, they're open to it and they can turn it over that.
Yeah,
Because I mean that's a little recycle business.
that was
too.
always
not business, but just
that was always an option, but it wouldn't have been hand sanitizer in the past. So you can turn it into vodka or whiskey. There's a local whiskey distillery that takes beer from other breweries. Luckily, it hasn't been us because it's a batch of beer that has been tainted. So they had bad fermentation, or tank was dirty. Something got messed up. Oxygen got in there and ruined the beer. So instead of dumping this whole batch of beer, they take it over to the whiskey distillery into, what do they call it? White Thunder, white whiskey, put it in the barrels, and there you go. You get whiskey in a year or two. And it's made from beer. I've had a whiskey that was a triple IPA. They distilled it, put it in barrels, and it was hoppy whiskey.
How does that taste?
It's interesting. It smells like marijuana because hops are a cousin of that. So that was like a pleasant smell, and you drink it, and it doesn't seem right. I didn't like it, but
wow,
it was interesting.
Buzz off of it?
No.
Did you get high?
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You get a little contact high with it, or is it just the
hops are cousins to marijuana, but some people feel maybe more relaxed after drinking a really hoppy beer. But I think that's just most hoppy beers are. So that's what it is.
Huh. Well, shoot, do you guys, I mean, it sounds like you guys do a lot of stuff with different maybe breweries or distilleries like you mentioned. Has there been any top collaborations or anything you've done with other breweries or companies, anything like that?
Yeah, we do collaboration, local brewer in Vista. I'm friends with a couple owners of breweries right down the street from each other, so I'll pop over to a couple of them in a day. A Dogleg Brewing Company in Vista, the golf-themed brewery. They've got a golf simulator in there, which is so fun that I decided to work for them so I could free.
Say that again, it cut out.
I'm beer tending over there one day a week, so I could. Dogleg Brewing Company in Vista. They have a huge golf simulator from Foresight. So cool. So we made a couple beers with them. I've gone over there and helped them, and then actually they haven't come over and brewed a beer with us yet. We need to do that still. And there's Helia Brewing Company in Vista. We've done a couple beers with them. They're all from Leucadia, so they're chill surfer guys, just having fun, making some cool beer that's good for drinking on the beach.
I guess that's a perk of 78 different breweries in like a half-mile radius.
Yeah, lots of friends.
I don't think I've ever had a bad beer on the sand at the ocean.
No,
give me any beer. I think I'd like it.
I'll find a way.
So you're in like the Mecca, and you're saying it's pretty tight knit group. I would imagine, like, you guys all know each other. How on the recipes, do you guys share ideas and things like that, or is it locked down in a safe and backyard?
Everybody is so open to sharing knowledge. That's one of the great things about brewing here in San Diego, pretty much anywhere where there's a lot of breweries. If I have a question, I can ask one of my friends and they'll tell me how they do it. Actually, I brewed a beer with Culver Brewing Company in Carlsbad. They had a Berliner Weiss. It's a sour beer. I liked it so much, I asked the brewer if he can come over and help me make one. And we did, and we sell it saying it's collaboration with Culver, so they get a little credit. And it's a great way for me to learn from someone. And, because they say it's all boats, and we're all happy to be making better beer. Make San Diego a big brewing capital of the country,
That's so awesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we actually we did have our beer on tap at USC Baseball Stadium. So
how'd you guys have that?
Our owner is a USC fan. His brother, his son, his nephew. Oh, his son is Eric Munson, who was drafted 3rd overall out of USC as a catcher there. So his brother works there, his nephew, his niece, everyone went there. So he worked 3 years getting our beer on tap at that stadium.
Wow.
I was wondering how to get on tap because from what I know of, having played at Long Beach, we were one of the few colleges that could have beer at our stadium because we weren't on campus. So how?
Yeah, they are.
USC's always got something fidgety going on. You know what I mean? People running bullshit like
Right on, baby.
You never know
Right
what's
on.
going on there.
So
Yeah.
technically, their field is on campus,
helping the
Yeah,
baseball
I believe.
squad.
I don't know the logistics behind that. I actually haven't been to a game. I was about to go to a game on March 21st, I think, but that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
I know.
Too soon.
So baseball season and then football season, we don't have beer at the Coliseum because I don't think they have beer there, or at least through USC. We are in their family tailgate section on campus before games. We have beer on tap there.
Yeah.
Again, USC finding ways around. You know, we get around whatever we can.
Love it.
Yeah. So they're making that work. And my girlfriend actually just got a job as a dietitian there at USC. So she does baseball, men's and women's volleyball, and women's basketball. So that was pretty cool. She was going to be dietitian there at the baseball field where my beer was on tap, but we didn't get a chance to enjoy that.
She prescribing a heavy dose of.
Hey, there's this one beer that will really help.
Yeah, it's
real good for recovery.
Yeah.
The next day might be rough, but
first one
you'll feel great.
Only drink this on Sundays when the series are over. It's to recover for the rest of the week.
Boy, what a start for Hayden. So cool. He was able to take advantage of a couple of opportunities that presented themselves. And sometimes you can create your own luck just by being a hard worker. And boy, Hayden telling how he got started and just able to put in the work and the hours and the dedication to something he liked, and recognizing he needed to maybe make a change school-wise was something that I thought was super cool. Sounds like it kind of gave him new life to become even more interested in this passion that he had. And so I thought that was pretty cool. If you guys want to piggyback off that.
Yeah, definitely. To piggyback off of that, I mean, like you said, when you go to college, you get into something that, you think you're going to like, or, possibly might work out. He completely changed courses, going from business, environmental science. I mean, talk about opposite direction, and gets into something that he really enjoys, and that is in something in the industry that he ends up being in. And, I was very impressed with him talking about changing from business to environmental science, and then having to be a student athlete, still playing ball, and then he gets a job at a brewery. I mean, being a student athlete alone, I couldn't have imagined trying to fit 2 hours of work in my day. I was going to school all day, lifting, hitting, whatever we had to do on the field. And when it was the end of the day, man, I was done. I had night classes, everything else. I couldn't even imagine what it was like for him trying to balance work, baseball, and school. Like, when do you have time for any of it?
Sounds like he didn't. I mean, he was going to work in his baseball gear, and I think that's awesome. Making the best of his time, but also like his passion. He was doing two of the things that he's most passionate about, and he's getting in there and doing his job because he knew he loved it, and it wasn't a job for him. And I mean, just like him going through the process of making a beer and like all the different steps, and that was super gnarly to hear. I mean, I've been to a couple factories like the Coors factory and the Guinness factory and all those places, but to actually hear somebody on the level of like a craft beer style, like the steps and the method that it takes to get to the point of a drinkable beer. And I mean, lager is the most common, I feel like, in everything, Well, lager is the most common beer, and yet it's the most difficult. Like, that was just bizarre to hear. I mean, makes me appreciate a Coors Light just a tad bit more now, but,
Even a Natty Light, I'm like, woo.
Yeah, I know, exactly, right? But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool to just hear his passion about his job and getting through it, and him taking the time and really wanting to know that chemistry of making the, what was it, the Hazy Daisy award-winning brew. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, what you were saying, I thought it was I thought it was really cool to hear that he started from the bottom. I mean, he was basically said, "Hey, I got an opportunity. I wasn't given really a great job." He basically went out and gave me an opportunity in college. I had just turned 21, and I started from the bottom, from just washing, But to this day, now that he's the head brewer, he still does it.
Yeah.
He can still sit there and tell his other employees, like, "Hey, this is the way we do it. This is how I do it," because he did it from the start. Now he's the brewmaster, and he still does it. So I think that's very, very cool to be the brewmaster and be the head of any job and be like, "I've gone through all the steps. I still do it. You guys need to do this the same way."
And that's just telling of him as a person too.
Character,
hardworking dude getting the job done. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. And again, I know I touched on it a little bit, but just being 24 to be a head brewer down here in San Diego, I mean, I really hope people can appreciate it. I don't care how big, small, whatever the brewery is. That is a ton of responsibility. And like you guys said, just to put in the time, the effort, I mean, very well deserved. And he's so open to still learning. You know what I mean? He mentions talking with other people and, always trying to find new recipes and this and that. And shoot, if finding a beer name is your biggest struggle, I think you're doing something right. So I thought that was really cool.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, very cool to see that he's at 24 in a league of men doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, cool. We'll send it to the rest of the interview with head brewer at Dos Desperados, Hayden Weir. If you could just kind of maybe talk about you guys, what you guys have maybe upcoming, what was just released. We heard about the Hazy Daisy, but maybe just kind of dive into what you guys are up to over at Dos Desperados right now.
So we've started canning since March now, and we're excited here. The second week of July, we're going to can our Hazanitas Hazy IPA. We'll use Vic's Secret hops in that beer, and those are some of the tastiest hops you could find. The beer tastes like a Jamba Juice smoothie. So we're excited to throw that in the cans. We got a really cool label design going.
When's that come out?
That comes out about July 10th, I think it's going to be.
It's coming up.
Of course you can. You can drink any beer for breakfast.
There's that post-workout beer right there.
Yeah.
Typically, how many different beers do you guys have on tap in the tasting room? And for anyone listening, Dos Desperados is in San Marcos, California, right here in North County, San Diego. But Hayden, again, if how many beers, or do you guys rotate them, or how does that kind of work for your on taps?
So we have team taps. We use about of the same beers always on our cores. And then we'll rotate through a couple IPAs, hazy IPAs, every once in a while to have some seasonal beers. We've got a couple of stouts on. A fruited stout, black cherry stout's really popular. Our Pancho Villa double IPA, which is what I'm drinking right now, is a crowd favorite. We're actually out of that now.
We didn't plan this right. We should have all been doing our own little beer from the brewery right now.
I know.
Yeah, I should have sent you.
We'll have a follow-up.
Doing it doesn't come to the brewery or something.
We'll have to have a taste. Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
actually, when I was
very
heard you guys with this Ask Guy Seams, I thought it was a beer friend who came up with this podcast because cans are connected by seams.
Ah, there you go.
I know that.
Are you offering a collab for our podcast right now?
That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to going out and trying some.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You named something after Sandlot, or you guys had a beer after Sandlot or something, right?
Oh, You're Killing Me Smalls Porter.
There it is.
Oh,
of course, that character's name is Porter. So You're Killing Me Smalls. It was great.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I would
actually that in a little while, so I guess I'll have to make that pretty soon.
It's like a cake.
Dos Desperados is awesome. For anyone that hasn't been there, it's an awesome little spot. I know when everything's cranking.
You heard about it, didn't you, Seth?
What's that?
You went there before I ever did.
I did. I went in there. I met Steve. My old roommate, Kyle Secchiani, was same type thing as you, was trying to do homebrew and was going around meeting everyone. And we went in there. It was awesome. I loved it. But it's definitely come a long way. I mean, when everything's cranking, you guys have trivia night, music. I mean, you guys do the whole 9 yards, right?
Actually, the city of San Marcos just passed an entertainment permit for tasting rooms. Before we were not able to have live music. So once the regulations for coronavirus are over, but we're really excited to have some bands coming in. We have local bands.
Now, this might be a bad question because I haven't had the beers yet, but can you tell us where to find strictly straight to a store? Can we go to liquor stores or certain places you guys do distribute to?
So we're in a few local liquor stores here in North County and to go north, but we have some beers on tap at Mexican restaurants in LA, but it's hit or miss in bars and restaurants in North County, San Diego. We're in a bit of places in Encinitas and many places like that. But the best way to get our beers coming to our brewery for sure.
And what's the Mexican lager, and do you know what's that county?
Playa Amor in Cerrito. Playa Amor is in Redondo Beach, I think. Open at Ortega 120 in Redondo Beach.
Okay.
And Amorcito in Long Beach, at the Long Beach Airport, actually.
I need to.
That airport just got so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know you're drinking. What'd you say, a double over there? What's your favorite?
Double IPA.
What's your favorite style? Do you have a favorite other than Dos Desperados? Anything?
Style is IPA. It's so versatile, especially now with hazy IPAs. There's bitter ones, there's low bitterness ones. You just got to find the one you like. And, here in San Diego, we feel like we grew the style of IPAs. West Coast IPAs. Lagers are the easy drinking ones, so you can have a couple more than you can IPAs. And those can be a little hoppy if you feel that way, or low.
I need to get down there and have you walk me through all this stuff.
I would love to. Give you a little.
I need to go drink with somebody and know what the hell I'm drinking, and not go from this one's gonna be hoppy as can be. I'm gonna be like, whoa, that's what I like.
I'm sure you'll like most of our beers. Yeah. You think you just like PBR now, but you just got to learn about it. You got to learn what you like. That's what it's all about. And I really like doing that. That's why I like being behind the bar and bringing beer to people. As a brewer, I'm able to teach them a little bit more than maybe a regular beer tender could.
And honestly, that's what I love about Dos Desperados and the size of you guys is you get that experience. You know what I mean? You go in there and it's like, oh shit, you made my beer. Dude, tell me about it, as opposed to these bigger places that maybe they don't know as much, or you might not figure out this or that about a particular beer. So I think it's just so rad. You walk in, everything's right there. There's no hiding. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to give someone a unique drinking experience like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys do any private tours or some private tastings or anything?
Yeah, brew house. You could always call or message us on social media to let us know, make sure we're there.
Where would they find you on social media, Hayden?
So it's pretty easy. We're at Dos Desperados or Dos Desperados Brew on Instagram.
Nice.
We're trying to be on there pretty good. We could do a little bit, but
you guys are active on there.
COVID lockdown, we got to get the word out. Yeah.
Is it something that you could go to the brewery and say, hey, I rent it out for 3 hours and be like, we want to have food and beer, taste all your beers, and all our clients come in, do a luncheon or something like that?
Yeah. I heard we're cheaper than most breweries in San Diego at renting out the space. So we're happy to have a big group in there like that. So yeah, we absolutely have food, and you can always bring your own food in.
Oh, cool.
That's badass. I like it. Yeah, Seth, we got to come.
Yeah.
Come down there.
Or what? Is there something is there a reason I'm not invited to this?
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the connection cut out.
Whatever.
Yeah, it'd be me and you, Danny.
Yeah. Connection is pretty rough over here.
Yeah.
It's these beats, dude. Some wrong
all
with
of us. Seth's already down there, so it was like, hey, Seth, we got to go down there.
Yeah, you were part of a we.
I think so.
Whoa.
Well, Hayden, before we let you go, man, if we could, I know you kind of broke it down a little bit, but just kind of for anyone that like we've talked about, maybe that's not totally experienced or know what each kind of style, I know there's a ton of them. We'll just kind of pick 3 or 4 to go with, but just kind of give a quick pros and cons of maybe why you might like it, maybe why you might not like a particular style, but we'll start with maybe IPAs. You mentioned that's your favorite.
Yeah, so if someone's not a big craft beer drinker like me and looking, I think right now hazy IPAs are the way to go. That is a beer that isn't bitter, hops, fruits and flowers and pine and things like that, but it doesn't attack your tongue like a West Coast IPA would. If you like IPAs where it's at, it's got that bitterness that it explodes in your mouth, gets those taste buds all tingly, and it's something lighter. Pilsners are my favorite. Pilsner is a style of lager, and those are my favorite because they've got a little hot bitterness to it, but overwhelming they would be. So you could still crush 4 or 6 of them in a day. So those are great. And if you love coffee and want any of the hops, stouts are awesome. I love a good imperial stout, which is a high alcohol stout. It gets a little thicker because more sugar leftovers in it. So it tastes chocolate or caramel or coffee. And those are great during the wintertime or late at night.
Yeah, so good. On those super chilly San Diego, California nights.
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, like
It's so cold.
Yeah, you need one. Gotta have one.
We'll make some lighter ones. We have a black cherry stout right now. It's only 5.8%. It's lower body, so you could drink it a little. And I threw some cherry puree in it, and you could drink it on a hot day like today, no problem.
Danny mentioned Guinness. I have no idea what makes it nitro. I have no idea what that means, but I've had a few things on nitro, and that's phenomenal.
I know did the tour in Ireland, so I got to pour it. They do a little example. Oh yeah, no, I made the pour of Guinness.
Wow.
They made no.
Did it ruin Guinness for you here? I've heard that's what it does.
Yeah, I heard the same.
It does actually.
Yeah.
Their nitro, they're set up at everywhere that they sell that in Ireland. Like, it's so on point. Like at breakfast, it's so good.
That's why local beer is good. It doesn't travel well.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, nitro beer.
I ruined your point there, but
they
not
mix
even a little bit.
Nitrogen gas with the CO2, and it pushed a different tap that has a little disc with 5 small holes on it. So it's pushed at a higher pressure through that disc that pulls out any CO2 with mixed here, and all the nitrogen bubbles are really tiny, so it has that really cool cascade effect, and it makes it a softer mouth, bubbly, using CO2, so it tastes nice and smooth, and you could chug them a lot easier, is what I've heard.
Yeah, no,
yeah, they're good. I like them.
Yeah. Well, shoot, anything else from you guys? Any other questions? Hayden, anything else from you, man? Oh, you want to keep going?
Let's keep going. You want to talk about baseball? What do you want to talk baseball about?
To announce my pitching, I thought that was the greatest thing ever. Weren't we living together at the time when you were announcing our game?
Yeah, we briefly lived together. There was a couple of you baseball guys in there. That was a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun, man. One year
positive, because I would tell you if I lived with an announcer that was bashing me, I'd be like, wait, get back, I'll whoop your ass.
I was just gonna say, how did that go over? Seth making a call.
Not the pitch I would have thrown there to get home.
I didn't have to watch what I said. Yeah, it was fun. And that was early in my broadcasting days. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. So
you were faking it pretty well, man.
Yeah,
you were by far my all-time person to watch baseball with.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was those were fun times for sure.
So are you with the Padres or what?
No, Dodger fan.
Oh,
oof.
So it hurt.
Rough year not to be able to use Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Big giveaway for 0 games played.
Isn't that such a Dodger thing, though?
They might play like 22.
I feel like
we're on the National, right?
Yeah, forever.
I watched that last game last season when Kershaw blew it. Almost I'd never Dodger game again. I remember sitting in a bar in Florida watching him blow that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's man. Let me tell you, playoff baseball, having gone playoffs 3 times, like that is heart-wrenching stuff to go through, man. It's like explain because every pitch, you tell everyone every pitch, you're always tuned into the game, you're always in. But let me tell you, when it's playoff baseball, like every pitch matters, every count matters, everything. I mean, the noise in the crowd is deaf. Can't hear your thing. It's a different game, completely different. And when something doesn't go your team's way, it's heart-wrenching.
hard to stack from that.
Oh man, it's
Momentum
terrible.
of that crowd gives the home team.
Just-
I can imagine.
Just the whole year's work all in a.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where was
Yeah,
the
it'd be tough.
Where was the toughest environment, Danny?
Toughest environment.
During
Dude,
playoffs
there's different stadiums. During playoffs.
or in general?
You know, the funnest environment playoffs are not in Louis. I think the fans are awesome. They're so good to opposing players and everything.
I heard it's
they
boring
just
there.
love baseball. Oh man, whoever said that, that place.
Chris Bryant.
You go there and play. Yeah, good job, Chris. I can't sit here and say a bad thing about St. Louis because it's like
Yeah,
when
no,
you
I've
go
heard
there, if you make a good play against a standing ovation.
Wow.
Like they just want to watch baseball. So for me, I always thought it was fun because you were playing in front of, I felt like educated fans,
Yeah.
which I
Right.
enjoyed. But as far as like the toughest place, like there's places that throw, fans that
Philly,
throw.
like,
When Philly was really good, like my first couple years in 2010, 2011, man, you'd walk out like at 6:30 to go on the field to warm up.
And they're already on
And
it.
it was packed
Wow.
out, seat open, yelling at you. I mean, you can't even imagine the things they wanted to say to you. And then you go to some stadiums where, like, you got fans throwing quarters and family section where your wives and kids are at. Like, I'm telling you, you'd be shocked at some of the stuff that goes on. You got like, detail around the family section because people are throwing quarters or package and mustard at your family. It's like,
jeez.
I wish I was more surprised, but I'm not surprised that.
yeah, I know.
Like,
Family, though, man.
Yeah, it's like, really? Come on.
Ruthless.
You want to throw something at, you want to say something to me, go for it, dude.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
family, you have a quarter where the kids sitting?
Yeah, that's stupid.
But you do definitely get places like that. And it's not on the West Coast.
Yeah,
I
Hayden,
would say it's more in the NL East.
Danny went to Long Beach. You're from up that area, right?
Yo, yeah. I'm from Torrance. I actually played a Connie Mack team, and our home field was Blair Field. That made me want to go to Long Beach State.
Oh,
I realized I wasn't good enough.
It's a beautiful park, man.
It sure is. I love seeing movies and it being fun.
Movie
did you
commercials.
know it's in Space Jam?
Yeah.
I just rewatched Space Jam. I had
MJ
no idea.
digging in there.
Dude, look at
Cool.
baseball commercials.
Moneyball.
Like the baseball commercials are Blair.
Are
That
they?
makes sense.
Yeah, they just changed it. They just changed the whole background and
Well,
stuff.
there's no
it's just like
shortage
a
of
mini
room to
Major
work
League
with.
Stadium.
Yeah.
It's only 4.
I was
right.
playing a game there in those giant trees in right field at that
Yeah.
giant tree branch broke off and landed on a woman or something at the park during one of our games.
Oh,
I know. It wasn't. It
Wow.
was a beautiful sunny day, and just we hear this
Wow.
boom, and yeah.
probably been struck by lightning twice.
Yeah, they're enormous. Old.
Smash the catcher.
And
there.
what years did you play there?
Huh?
What years did you
6,
play
7,
there,
and
Danny?
8.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was like juniors in Little League.
Thanks for
so I must
dating
have
me.
been 13.
For anyone counting.
I was
And
in
I got-
third grade.
No, I don't know what year that would have been though. I got to do some math, and I couldn't go to the pitcher spot because he's got to focus before the game. But I went out to shortstop for the national anthem. Trying to picture him.
Probably Tulowitzki.
Well, I was going to say,
What year?
better chances than not, you probably were with a major leaguer.
It's probably
Or at shortstop.
the consecutive shortstop.
07.
That was me.
No
Playing
way.
shortstop?
Yeah, 6, 7, and 8.
You signed Hayden's baseball.
Yeah, you have a picture? Hey, you need to see if you
Wait.
have a picture.
So
you
you
pay.
signed. I think you signed a baseball.
Rip.
Think about it. Wow,
Clearly, I meant a
That
ton
would
to
be
hate him.
weird.
Because
Yeah.
I remember. Well, how tall are you, Danny? I'm trying to picture the first.
Like 5'11".
Okay, and you had brown.
Yeah.
Did you have hair?
More than now.
Yeah, he had it. Way to
Oh, dude,
age
that might have
him
been
some
you.
more.
Shit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
Like
that?
I had like a little bit like of a mullet cut
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
for it.
Some
Mustache.
curls coming out like.
Not quite curly,
No.
but yeah, whatever was back there was there, you know?
I got a. I don't know. with your signature on it.
Dude, if you got it, I gotta see that. So
Reenact
You got to
it.
recreate the photo
Picture to me.
if there is one.
Yeah, I get a picture, post that up. That'd be cool.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be really
Small
cool.
world. I've
That'd
only
be awesome. I think we should just say it was.
yeah,
Just-
for sure.
So 06,
06, 07, 08, if it was one of those years, that was me.
all right. I think it was 06.
06, 07, yeah, that's 100% me.
That's so
I remember
awesome.
in 2005 when I ran over the catcher in the semis
Yeah.
when we were in CF.
Yeah.
I got that picture in my garage right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good photo. It's like a sequence photo. That is cool. Who were you playing? They had no reason being in that game.
No, it was.
They were like teal and black.
It wasn't San Clemente?
No, that was the game. That was when Kurt made
before,
that play
I
at
think.
third. I think it was like Corona Santiago or something.
No, that's who we played in the final, wasn't it?
No, that was Poly or
Riverside.
Riverside.
Yeah,
Riverside
we played
Poly.
Poly.
Poly, Riverside Poly, yeah.
Yeah.
Crescenta
Yeah.
Valley
No, I think that was because you guys played Trevor Bell.
or Trevor Bell, yeah.
Yeah.
I
God,
forgot.
he threw gas in high school.
Gas. There were so many people at that game.
Yeah, all while being an Abercrombie and Fitch model.
That's crazy.
Was
We
he
were
really?
playing travel ball. He was like an Abercrombie and Fitch model and, first rounder. So I'm serious.
Wow.
Rough life.
Yeah, he had
Oh,
a career either way.
Yeah. So, well, cool.
Sweet, man. You
Well,
got
let me know if
anything
you
else,
find
Hayden?
Let me know if you find
Yeah,
baseball.
I'll do some digging.
All right, cool.
We'll have a beer over, talk autographs.
He
Yeah.
probably plays catch with his dog now. He's like,
Oh, But I think it was like the
You
cleanest
haven't
curl
ripped
I
through
had.
this yet?
I think I used it to form my gloves. So
Ah,
I think
nice.
somewhere. Just
That'd be
little
cool to
pink
see.
Black.
That's
Definitely,
yeah, it
awesome. That was like when I met Seth Smith. G, were you with me when I met Seth Smith?
I know.
no way.
It was you
At Angel
were
Stadium?
bad.
Yeah, he was playing with the Rockies, and I went to the game and had him. I had like a T-ball picture with me on the Rockies, and so he like signed it, and I chatted with him. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
a good guy.
Yeah, good name,
Cool.
solid name. But well, shoot, Hayden, thank you so much for joining us, man. You guys got anything
Just a
else?
lot.
I
Nah, just
appreciate it.
forward
Thanks
to-
for coming on.
Kind
yeah,
of fun.
looking forward to coming down and meeting you in person and getting some tasting in and some knowledge. Need to learn what I'm drinking. Appreciate it a little more.
We'll do it.
And hopefully I'll get the invite and I'll come down and drink everything.
We'll see. You keep that up. We'll see.
Well, shoot, man. Thank you so much, Hayden. We appreciate it,
Appreciate
man.
it, man.
Thank you guys. That was fun. Good meeting you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good one. We'll
Dude,
talk to you
bro.
later.
Thanks, Hayden.
You too, guys. Bye.
See ya. Wrap up the interview there with head brewer Hayden Weir. Pretty awesome to hear what they have going on over at Dos Desperados, still making it work during these difficult times, but they're open and waiting for people to come in and visit. Like I mentioned, it's a awesome place to go. Even in tough circumstances, they're still making it work, dedicated to get their beer out there. Pretty cool to kind of hear that and them still offering services to people. Fellas, what did you guys take away from that back end of the interview?
Well, I thought two things actually. First, the hand sanitizer.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah.
Who would have ever thought of the hand sanitizer? By the way, I would have never thought of hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I doubt very many people know that they're doing that, and for them to take the time and to, as this whole pandemic's going on, for them to go out and get that hand sanitizer done, I thought that was really cool. The second thing that was kind of funny when we started talking a little bit towards the end was that he said when I was at Long Beach State, he didn't know it was me, but he says, I was on the field for the national anthem like in 2006, 2007 at shortstop with somebody. And I was like, somebody was me. I was the only shortstop there. And for him to say, oh, well, I got a signed ball and stuff, I thought that was kind of cool. It just, things kind of came full circle. There's some kind of reconnect, like what were the chances that he's 24 and, that now he's talking about getting a signature at Blair Field and it was me. And now we're doing this whole podcast deal. What were the chances? I just thought that was kind of cool.
Unreal.
It's more than kind of cool. No, yeah, it's a trip and it's an awesome story. hopefully it wasn't like your off day or something, and it was some other dude that's short. But
I don't know if there's off days in college.
That's true.
Oh yeah, true. But yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think that was one of the. It wasn't even anything to do with his job and like the brewery or anything, but it was one of the cooler points I think that we discovered through that. But yeah, no, my takeaway is that I can't wait to get down there. I want to go check out the tasting room and maybe get a little deeper dive into the process and little behind the scenes experiment with some of the recipes or something. I don't know, maybe something could happen. And we could create our own little Connected by Scenes little flavor. I wouldn't mind that at all.
He mentioned how funny
he
is
mentioned
that?
like the beer cans or something,
Yeah.
right? That how they were seamed up.
Yeah, that's I
Yeah.
guess what they're connected by is seams. So
That's kind of cool.
When we added him, he didn't know it was us. He thought it was a beer podcast, which is hilarious.
Could you imagine like the three of our faces all
On
like
a can?
Like a caricature?
characterized on the caricature? Oh, that would be hilarious. It would be
If
like
anyone's
Pepsi.
listening,
I need to talk to him if he's listening to this.
yeah.
Hayden, you needed to go back to that baseball moment when you met us at Blair. And you need to like make a porter and name it the Dirt Bag, just a dark, dirty
Oh,
Dirtbag beer.
solid.
Just
Oh
name
my
it
I like
Dirt
gosh, that would be great.
Royalty is coming to your way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Can't wait to get down there and just check it out. And Danny thinks that, he wasn't invited, but
I wasn't. I definitely was not
clearly-
Invited.
clearly I meant Seth's already
He's like,
down
Seth,
there.
we should
so
get down there.
We are going down there. But,
Yeah,
we'll
no.
figure it out.
When you
figure it
go
out.
back
I'll
and
see if he'll
listen,
text you or not.
when you go back and listen, you can hear what you meant. You can hear it was Seth, comma, we need to go down
Exactly.
there.
It was Seth, we should go to the brewery. Like me and Seth, let's go to the brewery. It had nothing to do with me.
Just me and Seth, nobody else though.
No, we'll make it work. I know Hayden would be more than happy to have us. I think that would be a great time to check that out, and nice little experience, and do a little taste test podcast or something from there.
I was gonna say, why don't we do a little sequel,
there we
like
go.
kind of taste test, grab a few and like a flight of beers and test everything. That'd be cool as hell.
We
32.
test one from each tap.
32 minutes
One-
later might be a heck of a time. Who knows?
Maybe the funnest podcast ever.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. That was really cool for Hayden to take the time and kind
Definitely.
of make that work. I know he was super pumped to get on. He had made a kind of a funny comment. He's like, dang, you guys get two pros on and then me. And I said, hey, those guys didn't become a head brewer at 24 years old in $1 billion industry. So
We're just different professionals in a different world.
Yeah,
He's at the top. He's at the top of his world as far as being a brewmaster, and those guys are at the top of theirs. That's what it's kind of what we were kind of reaching for is let's get stories of how everyone got to the top of their indry. Let's hear your story. Let's hear your ups and downs and everything. And so it's cool to hear his. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was the perfect transition, honestly. He had that, the touch of sports still, and was able to take that mindset into the work field, and it was perfect little transition. So stoked that we were able to have him on.
Me too. Glad he came on.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Well, sweet. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to episode 3 now of Connected by Scenes podcast. We hope you enjoyed our chat with head brewer at Dos Desperados, again, located in North County, San Diego. Be sure to check them out. Find the Hazy Daisy can. That's their best-selling beer as well. But again, Hayden, thank you again. And a reminder, everyone, check us out and follow us on Twitter at CBS Pods, Instagram at CBS_podcast. Also now on Apple Music. Search for us on Connected by Seams. You can find us on Spotify, SoundCloud as well, and YouTube. Find the full video and highlights and much more on YouTube as well at Connected by Seams. But that does it for us here at Connected by Seams. For my partners, Danny Espinoza and Garrett Smith, I'm Seth Smith saying so long. We'll catch you on the flip side.